Okay, well, good morning and welcome back. The football last night was quite eventful, 3-0 for Italy, so that made for a lot of merriment and happiness. We had a lovely meal out on the church square, watched it on a projector. The kids were playing around. It was a really nice evening. This morning we had to go and do some grocery shopping because two hungry kids will eat you out of house and home. So that's all done. It's now shortly after lunchtime and it's time to get back on with the master bedroom. My better half and the kids have gone to the swimming pool today, so that should leave me some time to really get going. So as we left off yesterday, what I want to do today absolutely is to get every piece of metal that's missing out of this framework in. So that means a parallel rail to that one and filling out the top here above the door. It's going to mean building the wall that the toilet will go against up, so rail at the top, and probably 4 rails across. Putting in the extra rails here behind the shower and having 1 extra rail as we did on the other side here for that to screw into, and 1 here against the loo for that to screw into. So I'm going to start up here and work my way around here, and then hopefully we should be able to get everything done quite efficiently. Okay, so there are 2, this one and that one there, uprights that are going to go here and here, so next to the door there and over there, floor to ceiling slot into there, but of course it's all very tight, especially down there, so the only clever way, this isn't attached yet, that will then be attached and so on, so we'll slowly get everything then fitted together. So what I'm going to have to do is unscrew the ceiling rail that we just put in, put these both in, and then slide it forwards again and turn the cables out of the way. Okay, well, a fair bit of faffing about, but they're in. Everything's pretty straight. That's going to be a lot more support for the door frame, which is quite important. So, having trimmed off that little bit of ceiling, we're pretty good here too. And now we can screw basically as many screws as we can in every direction possible to give this even more rigidity, although it is actually really pretty stable now. So a couple of screws here into the door frame, some screws from here into the rail behind it there, if we can, sort of where my finger is. They'll be going in at a funny angle, but they should be okay. And then hole punch there, put in at least 2 more up here, and I would have thought 1 or 2 up there too, and we should be pretty good to go. Okay, well, there's a lot of rigidity and structure in there, much more than is probably needed, but it'll keep the door from flapping about. Nothing's going to move there at all. So now I'm going to do the ceiling rail from the toilet, but quickly, very quickly, before I do that, I'm going to shorten these two bolts because it's a miracle that I haven't taken a chunk of me out on one of them yet. So I'm just going to go and find my safety glasses so that I can chop that off with the angle grinder. Okay, well, I've searched everywhere and I couldn't find them, so it's going to be sunglasses, which I'll have to do better than nothing. So I've backed off the back bolts. The front bolts are our references. And I can just push it backwards, those couple of millimeters needed, so that I can chop it off and it won't stick out of the plasterboard. Okay, so that's now forever fixed. It's not going anywhere anymore. It's time to get, so that's the back rails. We need to get the front rails. So start off with 2 uprights and the top bar and get those all lined up together. Oh, yes. Now, someone mentioned a while ago that it might be nice to have a niche, and I wholly agree. The question is, where do we put the niche? Do we have a niche on the loo side, which would be sort of like this? Let me see if I can zoom out. That's better. So sort of like this for toilet paper. In fact, probably the width of this metal frame, because that's where the rails will be going up. So it'll be that wide, just about, well, above that pipe somewhere here. And we could put loo roll in there. Or we'd have a little thin one, that wide from the shower side. I think it would look a bit funny if I just had one on one side in the shower. I don't know, I'm a very symmetrical person. The thing is, it's that much more useful. Well, it's going to be a tiny little loo. So a tiny little loo, where would you put loo paper? It would be nice to have a little niche. But where do you put your shower gels and stuff in a shower? That's a tough one, isn't it? Might have to have 2 niches. We might have to have 2 niches. I'm going to go online now and see if someone has ever made a niche, which I'm sure they have, and can show me how to do it. Okay, well, the internet seems pretty conclusive about that. If I try and install a plasterboard niche homemade into the metal framework, it will almost definitely leak. So I would have to buy a niche, and that will be an interesting question as where I'm going to put it, which means that we're going to have a non-waterproof niche for loo paper, which I think will look great. So so we'll get that done now. And there we go. So that lines up. It's not screwed to the ceiling yet, but that's they're basically in place-ish. Just have to make sure that nothing sticks out too far. It doesn't. So now it's a case of getting this one and this one absolutely vertical, getting a screw in the middle and then screws on the side. And again, trimming off the ceiling rail holder. And then we should be able to fix those 4 rails in. And then we can build our little niche here, there, into there. Get some more metal work on the other side, reinforce all of that. And we're laughing. So now it's really beginning to come together. And what we can do now is screw through here, because we have a rail behind this, and that will bind everything even more securely together. But we're now pretty much set up here, and we're going to put the ceiling in next, I think. I've got the ceiling rails, so everything is set up. Just put the ceiling in. We should have, yeah, they're here. So we'll slot those in, fix them up, cut a piece of plasterboard to the right size, and then, that's a good question though, should we have our niche go all the way up? Is that going to look good? No, I don't think it is, no. I'm still not completely decided on the niche yet, but it would be a shame to waste this space. I mean, if we're running on that small amount of space, there is see the gap there between the two partitions, which is just basically the width of the toilet plus 2 centimeters, so that the pipe will fit. Don't forget my hammer above that ceiling or my screwdriver. I probably won't. Right, let's get that put together and we'll get the ceiling run on. Yes. Okay, ceiling rails are in. I didn't time lapse that. It wasn't that exciting. This one isn't lined up properly. Okay, middle. So, massive overkill. There are 4 of them for the simple reason that I want to put a light in the middle, and if I'd had 3 there would have been a metal bar exactly where I wanted to have the light, because I want the light smack bang in the middle of the ceiling. So now I'm going to screw the ceiling in place, make the hole for the light, wire it up. There is a wire there that will come from the light switch, well, from the loo light to the extractor fan. So the extractor fan turns on when you turn on the light and then stays on for a little while when you turn off the light. So I'm going to cut the piece of plasterboard and then screw it up. Okay, ceiling in place, wired up with the wires for the extractor fan. I might have been a little bit generous on cable, but it's much easier to shorten than it is to lengthen. In fact, it looks like I've pulled this a little bit out, so I can pull it back. There we go, that's much better. Well, that's not holding in the wall at all anymore. So next up, I'm going to do, so I have some waste bits, this here, and then we can get started on the other wall, the opposite wall, and then we'll do that. So above the door, inside and out, the toilet and the shower separation, absolutely last. So before I go any further, I just wanted to hold the sink up, and unfortunately, now that everything's together, these bolts were a little bit too short. I did measure 13 mils on top, but it didn't work out. And of course there will be a sort of render on here as well. We're probably going to go for the cement on both sides, the whole area, because I think it looks very swish and it's really easy to apply, and it gets rid of things like the fact that I can't plaster. So I think this sheet will have to come off again, and I'll have to get 2 longer bits of threaded bar organised, and I think I can reach around to get that one. so that can stay. So I'll do that now. Okay, I've chopped my new piece of rebar, and the hole isn't super accessible from behind because of the rail there. So I've just put a piece of plastic in the end of my spanner, put a bolt in there, and I can reach around the back, and I should just be able to get the two to slot in together. So I'm going to give that a try now. Okay, well, I'm not even going to pretend that that worked straight off the bat, but eventually after 4 or 5 tries it did work. And one day one of my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren will take this to pieces and wonder why there are 6 bolts lying there in the space behind the wall. But it's up, it's not going anywhere, it's very sturdy. And I think it's going to be just fine with the loo and everything. Looks pretty cool. So, fortunately, that's going to have to be about it for today. The kids are on their way back from the swimming pool with my better half. So I'm going to have to help getting them set up with some dinner and what have you. So, I think we're probably going to light the barbecue in a minute. And I'll show you what we've got to cook on there. And there it is. I did finish actually quickly putting everything together. So I think if you can just imagine the wall finished, that'd look quite smart. Doesn't take up much room, but perfect just for washing your hands as you leave the loo. And the water draining straight out over there. So it all works, no water anywhere, no leaks. Happy with that. And that really is for it for the bathroom today. I think we'll probably get a fair bit done again tomorrow. Okay, so everything took a little longer than we're expecting, so there won't be any barbecue tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'm quite happy with what we got on with today. And I'll check back in tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more done, you know, slow and steady as some of you have commented. So for now, thank you very much for watching. Take care and I'll see you tomorrow.